I'm not a lawyer, but Judge Paige Whitaker has issued her rulings on the open motions in the YSL RICO trial, and child, just about all of them were denied. Let me give you a quick rundown of the orders, and I'm going to start with the big one. Doug Weinstein's motion for a mistrial. Now, Weinstein had 4 bases for his mistrial motion. The first is that it is impossible to undo or redo what happened after June 12th when Judge Glanville should have stopped the court proceedings. In regards to that, Judge Whitaker says that since she and the attorneys have all been working to figure out what testimony and evidence of Kenneth Copeland needs to be redone, she basically says that there is not an impossibility to address these issues that Weinstein raises, and therefore this is not a basis to grant a mistrial. Now, reason number 2 Doug Weinstein had for the mistrial is that he says the ex parte was a critical stage of this court proceeding and Diamante Kendrick had a right to be present. And just so we're all clear, Judge Whitaker defines a critical stage as one in which a defendant's rights may be lost, defenses waived, privileges claimed or waived, or one in which the outcome of the case is substantially affected in some other way. I think of it like this. If something is happening, like a meeting, for example, that could affect the outcome of a trial or a defendant's rights, that's a critical stage. So in this instance, Doug Weinstein argued that ex parte wasn't just about Kenneth Copeland's immunity. It covered other things. And since Kenneth Copeland was a key witness for the state, and key witness doesn't mean best witness, it really just speaks to what Kenneth Copeland told police the day Donovan Thomas was unalived and in the police interviews that he did after that are really how investigators figured out, according to them, what was going on. His statements to police allowed them to begin connecting otherwise isolated events to a larger story. And so, since Kenneth Copeland and his police interviews are so key to this trial and his decision to testify or not testify could affect the outcome of this trial, that, according to Doug Weinstein, makes the ex parte meeting a critical stage that the defendants had a right to attend. So in response to that, Judge Whitaker says Weinstein is correct that the ex parte was about more than just the parameters of Kenneth Copeland's immunity, and rather he understood its potential ramifications. But she also says that even though the meeting detoured off topic, overall, everything discussed was still in some way related to Kenneth Copeland's immunity. And for that reason, she says it is not a critical stage of this trial, and therefore the defendants did not have a right to be present. Next up is if Kenneth Copeland was coerced to testify. Judge Whitaker says that even though the judge and the prosecutors gave Kenneth Copeland incorrect information, she does not believe that any of that incorrect information induced or persuaded him to testify. And she also notes that Kenneth Copeland did have representation with him in that meeting. So the fix for this, according to her, and she says the attorneys agreed, is just to give Kenneth Copeland the correct information and then see what he decides to do, which of course they've already done. And Copeland says he'll see how he wakes up. Now, the last reason that Doug Weinstein had for the motion for mistrial, the previous judge was biased, to which Judge Whitaker says the previous judge, Judge Glanville, has now been removed, so this is actually a non-issue. And so for all those reasons, the motion for mistrial was denied. The other open motions were Brian Steele's motion to recuse the prosecutors, which Judge Whitaker also denied, and Max Shart's motion for a fair and constitutional trial. Having to file a motion asking for a fair and constitutional trial is wild. That motion also included a request for the prosecutors to be recused as well. And while Judge Whitaker seemed to acknowledge that there's been some misconduct by the prosecutors, she says she doesn't believe that it was purposeful, but rather a negligent overlooking. So she has ordered that the entire prosecution team working this trial submit to a training on Brady and other professional obligations of a prosecutor. This training will consist of a video replay of training on this topic previously presented by the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia. The court will provide the video and the viewing will occur under the direction of the court. So child, court will be back on Monday morning and we'll see how Kenneth Copeland wakes up.